Yeah, my name is Paul Kimani. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Workpay, where we are building, HR and payroll solutions for businesses with employees in Africa. So, with employees in Africa is important to us because we don't matter or we don't care where the business is. As long as the employee are within the continent, we help them to manage and pay the employees on time. So we started here in Kenya. We hit 5 years last year, which was a big milestone for us. And we are paying, employees in 31 African countries as at today. Our mission is simple. We do the boring work to ensure that employees are paid on time every time.
When you began, you had an interesting name, Toza Plus. Why? What was the thinking behind the name? Because names usually have meanings. It could be something personal, it could be a translation, it could be something that has sentimental value. So why Toza Plus and why the shift to Workpay?
When we started Toza Plus, we're just trying to build something. And then name was something we realized that when you're building something, this thing needs to have a name. And I remember when we were wondering, what do we call this thing? It was, we're trying to build a bit of everything. We're actually calling it a business operating system. So where we had everything from accounting all the way to project management, customer relationship management tools, CRM, and payroll was just a very, very tiny bit of our product. So if you think about accounting has a lot of, apart from understanding your finances, there's a bit of paying taxes, there's a bit of, working with the regulator, and then we're like, okay, Toza Ushuru, and we're like, okay, we can have Toza, which is the accounting bit, accounting was actually our main product. So you're like, you want to help people, Toza Ushuru, but then it's not just accounting, we're also doing some other things. Then it was Toza Plus. Then because we wanted to look cool and to look original, we had to add an extra Z to, instead of just having Toza, we just add Toza, but with 2 Zs, and then the word plus.
Okay, so you're saying it's not always that you need a super name for what you're building?
Yeah, it depends. So when we were now building Workpay, we actually thought about it. So when you think about the way you want to name your company, you probably want to do a functional name. So when I read that name, I exactly know what these guys do. Or the other one, you just need to have an arbitrary name where you want to be arrogant in a way that you are going to build something really great and big that people are going to sort of use your name to say doing that thing. Like Google means nothing, but we all say I'm Googling. So it's those two ways that you want to think about it. And when we were now doing Workpay, we actually sat down and asked ourselves, how do we want to name this company? And then we asked ourselves, what are we trying to do? And it was very easy for us. We wanted to play in the space of work and payment. So, again, somebody in the team was like, why not just use Workpay? When I think about that journey, I think about it in a bit of like 4 phases that we have gone through as a company. There's the phase where we are trying to figure out what we want to do. There's a phase where we faced so many near-death experiences, and there are phases where now, we feel like we sort of found our footing, where we are right now, and that's what we are trying to build. When I tried to do a company, my first stab at building a software company was in 2017. So I started what Arthur was calling Toza Plus. So basically, what we had built was, as I said, a business operating system that had a bit of everything. So we were essentially helping companies to run their business from finance, accounts, payroll, people, and even customers. And in 1.5 years, I think the numbers were not like terrible. I think we tried to do something. We were able to on board about 150 businesses, and almost 100 of those were actually actively using our product on a monthly basis. We had a decent MRR of $5,000 every month. And we even managed to convince people to give us money as investors. So for this particular business, we managed to raise about $50,000 from angels. And it will look like sort of a decent business when you think about it. But then numbers is one thing, but then there's also the other part of information that you get from talking to customer and being very, very aggressive in trying to understand exactly who you are building for, what you want to build for these people. And that's what we did in this. So something felt off despite us having more than 100 businesses that we had convinced to use our solution in less than 2 years. There was something that we always kept feeling that something was not right. And then in 2019, officially we launched Workpay. We launched Workpay with 5 people. We help people to pay their employees on time. And the question we were asking them is that what is some of the challenges that you are facing in paying your employees on time? And one of them was cash flow. So they were not getting paid by their suppliers in time because cash was not was scarce at that time. And we actually built a product around that we had, in our roadmap. We had it as an idea that we wanted to build that product down the road, which we call it payroll financing. So what we did then is like helping businesses to, we would pay on their behalf, and then they would pay us back in a space of maybe 2 weeks or a month before then. And this was not a product that we had intention to launch then, but we had a very good group of customers that we were building around them, and we thought that it was a risk because we are not a lending company, we are a software company, but we thought that that's a risk that we wanted to take for our customers, and it paid very well. What I've learned in those 4 phases of our journey is that sometimes you have to go beyond the number, you have to really dig deeper, and you have sometimes to do the counterintuitive thing. So when we were looking at building or figuring out what to build after we built our first product, which was Toza Plus, common sense would have meant we wanted to build an accounting software, or we needed to double down on accounting. But then that turned out to be probably the best decision would have been just to build on payroll, which was least used, but then it ended up to be probably one of the good decisions that we made. The other one is you have to solve pains, not just problem. If you find yourself solving a pain, you're in a very good place. How do I know that we are solving a pain and not just a problem? Is the number of times that customers tell me to go to hell if our system is not working. Because it means like their processes are really disrupted. And then the other one is just you need to really engage customers, not just do research. Again, I have examples. The first one, when we again pivoting, that was a very pivotal moment for us. Again, we would have just done research and checked, build accounting, or go ahead and ignore that payroll was an opportunity. And then also during COVID, it was very easy for us to say, you know what, we're just going to try and replace the customers that are leaving and not just care about them. But we cared so deeply that we were just talking to our customers and trying to really try and understand how can we help them. And then, you need to view crises as opportunities, both when a crisis happens in your company, for the builders in this place know that crises happen, our life is just a wave. When you think you are crushing it, when you think you are winning, then something comes and hits you on your head or you on your face, and again you think that you are losing your mind or you are going to die as a business the next moment, then tomorrow you are again on a high. But then the question is that when you are on that very bad situation, how do you use that opportunity for you to be able to, number one, understand your customers better, and then number two, to be able to build a lasting solution. And we have had so many such moments in our business.
My question is, as a founder, because in my previous experience, there are startups. So my question will be, during the time which things were not working out for Workpay, what was one thing that made you to hold on to Workpay?
I think for me is the belief. I think I've always been very convinced and convicted in what we are doing. And trust me, there are so many times that things have not been working. But I've always believed that what we are doing is so vital, it's so big, that I know that we'll have a breakthrough regardless of the situation that we are in. Sometimes that belief is not, sometimes works to our disadvantage. I even going to her, the question she was asking, sometimes we so much believe that we even don't know when to let go. But I think it's part of the job. If you don't believe in what you're doing, if you're not very invested in it, I think it can be very easy for you to drop off on the way. So you have to really believe.
As much as you're putting in resources and time to make sure you're building the product that will work for your target audience, when or what is the one thing that made you keep going and you did not give up?
I think you have to be very, very honest with yourself. And it's not easy. I don't think there's somebody who can tell you, like, these are the steps on what you're going to do. You have to be honest with yourself. You will have spent a lot of time. You will have spent a lot of money in it. But the truth of the matter is that if it's not working, even if you keep on pumping more money into it, even if you keep on pumping more effort into it, that does not mean it's going to work. But then there's another flip side. It might not be working, but you can still see a clear path on how it's going to work. Then it's you to decide, am I going to keep on pushing? Am I going to keep on building this? And is there a world that I see how this turns around? It could be you are thinking about very, very big product. You are thinking about very, very big problem that you are trying to solve. But within that very, very big product you are trying to solve, is there probably one particular problem that you can solve, and then that you keep on building on top of that?
You mentioned that there was a time you are in, then you stepped aside, and also like there are times you launch a product and doesn't work. So my question is, at what point do you say it's time to quit, and at what point do you say, let me just hold on, let me just continue building this? So at what point do you do that?
To stop being so obsessed with the product, so that you are so obsessed with the problem. Products will never pay you, but people will pay you because of you solving their problems. Whether that is easy, it's not easy. Even today I have products that I know we are still dragging with them, but that's the beauty of building, is that you don't know what you don't know until you start doing it, and you start iterating, you put it in the hands of the customers, and they start using it. That's when the real magic starts to happen. When customers start interacting with your product, they start giving you live feedback. And if you are very honest with yourself and you go past the emotion that you have with what you have built, you can, let go of the products that you have done. But then the question is that, sometimes we forget that either pivoting or just killing a product should be a lesson that you learn to be able to build the next thing, because sometimes you're just letting it go, then you build something around that. Thank you so much. Thanks, Ada, for having me.
Thank you very much. I believe a round of applause is in order.